There we are. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, lovely people, depending on where you're watching us from in this beautiful world. Today, I've got Robert B. Foster with me, and I'm really, really looking forward to having this conversation because, Robert, you have got a really beautiful story. A lot of our messages are so aligned. And we will talk about overcoming self doubt. We will probably also talk about your podcast, but first and foremost, I'm going to get you to introduce yourself to our audience, please. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. So
Of
when
course.
when talking about my story, we have to go back to the very beginning. I am the
Let's.
youngest of seven siblings, right? I'm the youngest of
Whoa.
seven. So for the first probably 12, 13, 14 years of my life, I had a chip on my shoulder because I was the baby
Mm, hmm.
and I wasn't as genetically gifted as my siblings. Like I was a late bloomer. So I
Hmm.
sat back and I watched my brothers and my sisters. They were like we were all athletes and just watching them excel. And
Hmm.
this isn't like a negative jealousy thing. Like I was proud of them. Like I was proud to go
Yeah.
to the basketball games and the
Yeah.
field hockey tournaments and the track and field meets and all that stuff. Like I was proud of it, but I was like my brothers are tall, they're 6 foot tall, they're muscular, and here I am. I'm not even 5'5" and not even 90 pounds. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So, so they would say I was a crybaby growing up because like that was how I got my attention. Right. That was
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
dad was pouring into them. I mean, mom worked a lot, but when she was home, everyone's telling mom about their accomplishments and all that stuff. And
Mm.
and here I am. I was like the ugly duckling of the group,
Oh.
so right. And so, but it drove me though, and it really shaped
Mm.
who I am now because
Hmm.
I didn't take it as a woe is me kind of thing. I
Yeah.
took it as a I need to train. I need to
Hmm.
watch what they do. Like I studied their habits, I studied their
Hmm.
work ethic, and I was
Hmm.
like, you know what? I'm gonna have my moment in the sun. And
Hmm.
like my brother used to walk around with his records on his t-shirts, and little did he know I had a little pad and I was writing those records down. I was like, 'cause I'm
I
gonna
love it.
I'm gonna take all of those down. And the biggest thing was for at that time, for like my entire life, I was so and so's little brother.
Hmm.
And as noble as that may be, because they were such good athletes, I got a lot of respect because of it.
Mm.
Like one of my brothers, like he was big and he was pretty no nonsense. So like I knew I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna get picked on, I wasn't gonna get bullied
Mm.
because people feared
Instant
him.
protection.
But yes, yes, but still, it's like I wanted my own shine. Like I just
Hmm.
wanted to
Of
be
course.
Robert
Yeah.
Foster. I wanted to see my name in the
Mm.
newspapers and my picture
Yep.
in the
And not
newspapers.
brother off. Yeah.
Yes, it's like I wanted my own trophy rack.
Mm.
And the summer between sophomore and junior year, I grew almost 6 inches. Right.
Wow.
So
Woohoo.
yeah, for real.
You're like,
So
yes.
finally, exactly. So finally, my genetics my genetics caught up to my drive,
Mm.
and then here we are today. So that's the core of who I am. Like when people ask, like, who are you? Like I'm a competitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of
Oh.
people can't answer that question. It's like I'm a competitor. So anything that comes up in my life, I look at it as a competition, whether
Mm.
it's challenges at work. I'm a
Hmm.
parent. I have five kids. I don't claim to
Hmm.
be the best parent on earth. I make plenty of mistakes. I'm making
Mm.
current mistakes now.
Hold
And
on.
I
Are
just
you
look
saying
at
you're a
that.
human?
Yes, yes, I am human. I do
Yes.
not plug into the wall. I do not. I
Good.
need 3 meals a day and I need sleep.
Mm.
you know,
And
so
patience.
so so it's about the core values. It's like
Mm.
people have to define who they are. You strip away all the hats. Before I was a
Yeah.
father, before I was an athlete, before
Mm.
I was a business owner, before I was a coach. All of that
Mm.
stuff is like, who were you? And me, at my
Yeah.
core, I was a competitor.
I love that you share that because it makes so much sense. When you hear that, it says so much about your upbringing and your drive, what drove you to become who you are today. And I think that's a lot that we are going to talk about today. Yeah, I also know, like, hold on, I just want to ask this question quickly. What's the age gap between you and your oldest brother or sister?
So I'm 50 and my oldest
Yeah,
sister is 64.
for 14 years. So it was
Yes.
literally roughly every 2 years, right? That your siblings were
Well,
born.
technically, if you want to be technically, the older three my
Yeah.
dad had from two other relationships.
Okay.
And
So
then there's
I'm,
four of us from my mom.
yeah, okay. I'm the youngest of five. So I
Okay.
sort of get the dynamic a little bit when it comes to that, but a very, very different stories. I'm going to bring mine into this right now, but yeah, you being a dad of five. So yeah, I often say to people, when you think my hands are full, you should see my heart. That's my favorite saying to people with lots
I
and lots
love
of
that.
kids. So I'm going to share it with you here as well. Rod, obviously, due to the title of our podcast here, of my podcast here, Unsilence Grief, I do know that you have a story to share, and if it's okay with you, I would like to get right into it because then I would like to talk about, how did your background of being the competitor and your mindset and everything then come into play? Can you share the story about your dad?
Yeah, so if you will allow me the time, because I
Of
got to
course.
get you to understand his mentality. It's like, yes,
Sure.
people associate shut up and grind with me, because I
Mm,
definitely adopted the mentality, but it
mm,
started with him. So he was
mm-hmm,
an engineer. Like
mm-hmm.
growing up in school, he actually skipped two grades. He went from fifth
Wow.
grade to seventh grade and then seventh grade to ninth grade. And then he ended up
Wow.
getting an engineering degree in Syracuse University. So I was born in New York City. But when we moved out, because again, I'm the youngest, I was, I think, 2.5 when we moved
Mm,
from the city to Rhode Island.
mm-hmm.
And when my mom was pregnant with me, their apartment burned down in New York.
Wow. Uh-huh.
So we had to move into the projects.
Mm-hmm.
And dad wasn't having that.
Mm,
So he actually left us in the hood. And then he
mm-hmm.
came up here to Rhode Island. He got a
Mm-hmm.
job building submarines and he saved money. It was like 6 or 7 months, I want to say. My mom would come up like once a month to help him search
Mm,
for houses and all that. But then so it all worked out and they finally ended up getting a house, rural area, not even suburban, like rural. Like we live in the
yeah.
woods,
Yeah.
but great neighborhood, great school
Mm,
system, because he decided he did not want that for us.
mm-hmm.
And being an engineer and just growing up with him, there was nothing that he couldn't accomplish. Like if he wanted it done, he was gonna find a way to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can share this quick, they bought
Sure.
my parents, they bought a new refrigerator and a new table, right? Just to give you
Mm-hmm.
again a little glimpse into his mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So the furniture people, they deliver it, and we had a door here and a window here.
Mm-hmm.
So they get everything in place, but now the door was hitting the table. The table was a little bigger than what
Mm-hmm.
they anticipated.
Mm-hmm.
Normal people, okay? Normal people would have just gotten a smaller table, but not my dad. So I was coming down to visit. I think I was in my 20s at this point. So I'm
Uh-huh.
coming down to visit. I'm pulling in the driveway, and this dude has half of the house just ripped apart. So he took the siding down. He reframed the that side of the house, and he reversed the window in the door because he
Wow.
wanted that table and he wanted that refrigerator. Like he was not going to compromise on either one. So
That doesn't
that,
fit. I'll show you.
yes, like he literally
Oh,
resided the
wow.
entire house so he can keep that
Wow.
table.
I
So
love
anyway,
that
so
story.
thank you. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into my knee injury story later on. but like I'm
Okay.
big into obstacle racing. And
Mm-hmm.
so at my old gym, I had a 5 foot climbing wall, and
Mm-hmm.
dad was going to extend it 2 feet. So this was
Mm-hmm.
January of 2019. And so he
Mm-hmm.
comes
Wow.
down, he's doing the measurements and all that. And he looked fine to me.
Mm.
It's like he was 70, he just turned 79 at the time.
Wow.
And so it's like he wasn't a spring chicken, but it's not like he was 95,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like he took a couple breaks. He'd get winded for a second. We just figured, dude's getting old. It's like that's what it is, right? It's
Mm.
gonna happen to all of us unless we die young. Like we're all gonna get old. that's
Yeah.
it's what it is. But then I want to say it was 2 weeks later. Now the way my family operates, we don't really sweat stuff until stuff is a problem. So
Yeah.
my mom calls and she's very nonchalant. She's like, yeah, I'm in a hospital with dad. Everything is fine. Don't panic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay. She's like, he's having a little thing with his heart, but just don't worry. Just totally downplayed
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
And then I saw him, I want to say 3 weeks later, and he like clearly lost weight.
Mm.
So like I went to my mom and I'm like, what is going on with him?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. He just has, heart failure. I was like, no big
No big
deal.
deal.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, strep throat is no big deal. It's
Yeah.
like heart failure is not no big deal.
Mm.
So he ended up going in and out of the hospital multiple times. Again, he's losing more weight now. Now he's starting to lose strength.
Mm.
And he used to say, as far back as I can remember, was probably in his 50s, where he was like, when he can't build anymore, that was going to be his time to go. Like,
Mm.
and he lived by that in his
Yeah.
50s. He constantly said it. And so like as time started going, like I remember he had my oldest daughter and I come and remove a TV stand. Now, mind you, I
Yeah.
told you, bro was an engineer. It
Mm-hmm.
took us like an hour and a half to remove this TV stand. He had this thing just so armored into the wall. Like my
Mounted
daughter's
solidly.
in the room next to me. I'm not sure if she can hear me, but she can remember that like we're like doing the ratchet wrench and we're like, how long is the screw? Like, come on
Was it
now.
sticking out
But
on the
yeah,
other side?
oh my lord, the thing was like this big, but it took so long. But he was
Mm.
sitting there and like it's kind of like a walker chair kind of thing. So it's like you
Mm.
can sit in it, but you can also get up and walk with it. So he was
Mm-hmm.
sitting in one of those,
Yeah.
and I could just see on his face. I was like, this is literally killing him that she and I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like it was so heartbreaking to see. And like he
Mm.
got up a couple of times and tried to help, and then he had
Mm.
to sit back down again.
Yeah.
So there was another time they had a pool, and they got a new pool liner, and he called me. He's like, can you come help me move this box? He's like, it's really heavy. And now, mind you, I manage a gym for a living, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so I get down there, and I'm bracing. I got the deadlift form and everything. Like I'm bracing to pick this box up, and this box was like 20 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, this poor dude. It's like he literally called me to come here to pick up this box. But
Mm.
that's how in rough shape he was. It's like I know
Yeah.
I'm saying it with a humorous tone because I don't want to
No,
cry,
I get it.
right?
I get
So,
it. Yeah.
so now we fast forward. He needs open heart surgery, right?
Mm.
So the day before the surgery, now my oldest son, he's a mechanic, although he's not doing
Mm.
that now, but he was a mechanic. And he and my dad worked on my mom's car the night before the surgery. And
Mm.
if I remember what my mom was saying, that he stayed out there till 1 in the morning. Now we live in Rhode Island. Hartford, Connecticut is about an hour and a half away. And that's where
Mm-hmm.
the hospital was. And they had to be up at 4 a.m. to get to the hospital. And
Yeah.
like mom was telling him, come inside, go to bed. And he's like, no.
Mm.
He's like, I'm not coming in until this car is fixed.
Mm.
and he's having open heart surgery the very next day. So he goes up there, and coincidentally, I actually had knee surgery on the same day because I
Wow.
figured he's going to be out for like 8 hours, 10 hours.
Mm.
What the hell am I going to do? So I may as well just have
I'll get
mine
my
at the
knee
same
fixed while
time.
I'm.
Yeah, right. It's like all I'm gonna do is sit in the hospital worrying. So
Yeah.
yeah, I may as well just have mine the same day, and then I'll
Wow.
go visit him the next
Very
day, right?
practical.
So
I get it. I hear you.
yes. So after the surgery, he was actually doing pretty well. It's
Mm.
like we thought, okay, because they took like we had a family meeting prior to surgery where they were
Yeah.
like, if this is successful, he could get another 2 to 5 years. But
Mm.
they're like, but we could also lose him.
Mm.
And so we let dad choose. And without batting an eyelash, he said, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's like he wasn't afraid of the other outcome. He's like, if
Mm.
there's a chance, he's like, because either way, I'm on the way out. It's like,
Yeah.
so we have a
May as well
chance
try to
to,
prolong it. Yeah.
yes, to
Yeah.
prolong it. He's like, let's
I
let's
hear
do
you.
it. So
Yeah.
when the time came, remember, so now where I lived in Rhode Island at the time, it was an hour and 45 for me to
Mm.
get to the hospital. Managing a gym at the time, it was my own business. So like I was managing my
Mm.
fitness business, raising
Yeah.
5 children, and having to get to and from Hartford, Connecticut. I
Yeah.
mean, I didn't go every day, but I probably went 5 out of 7 days. So
Mm.
this one day, I remember texting. We had a group text, and I was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, guys, I'm not gonna go today because I had gone like 3 days in a row. So I was like I'm
Yeah.
gonna take this day off." And then
Hmm.
my sister texts me. Actually, she called me and she's like, "We don't." She's like, "He's not gonna make it today." This was a Monday. This was November 18th of 2019,
Mm.
and I was like, "Are you for real?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm for real." She's like, "They're saying he's not gonna make it today." I was like, "Okay, all right, so I'm gonna go." And then I was
Of
like,
course.
do I tell my two oldest kids?
Mm.
Because like my daughter's very heart centered, and it's
Mm.
like this will completely
It's a big
wreck her just
decision.
emotionally.
Yeah.
And my oldest son, he's impulsive. So I was
Mm.
like, he's on the job right now. He's probably working on somebody's car. And if
Mm.
I tell him, he's gonna drop everything and leave. you
Hmm.
know, because like with me, even when stuff hits the fan, I try
Mm.
to make sure all the X's are
Yeah.
covered, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed before I
Mm.
leave. Because you're dealing with people's real lives. It's like just
Yeah.
because we're having an emergency doesn't mean we can just forget about everybody else's real life.
Mm.
But like I had asked my mom, and she's like, I would tell them and let them make their decision. And of course, my son flew off the handle, bounced out of the job, just like I
Mm.
thought he would. But he picked up my daughter, and then they headed up to Hartford. And so one of my brothers, this dude, is always late, always.
Hmm.
So now, mind you, I told you it took me an hour and 40 to get to the hospital. So I get to the hospital right as my dad went into like full blown cardiac arrest. It's like I walk
Mm.
into the room as they have the little shocker things
Yeah.
on his chest.
Hmm.
And so, like, at that moment, pretty much he was gone. It was like the machines were keeping him alive.
Yeah.
My brother texts us that he just left New Jersey. And we're like, dude, it's like we told you hours ago that this was
Mm.
happening. So now, knowing imminently that my father's about to die, we have 3 more hours to stew on it because my brother left late. So we asked the nurses, we're like, can we hold off till he gets here? And they agreed. So, we're down in the cafeteria and we're talking about, like all the final things that need to be done,
Mm.
trying to support my mom and my
Mm.
niece. My niece took it so hard. And it was probably the worst, best moment ever, or best worst moment ever. I don't know how you word it, but
Yeah.
because he died November 18th of 2019. So had he survived into 2020, you know what 2020 happened, right? So it would have been worse for him. So when the time came, my brother finally gets there. We had 3 generations around
Mm.
him. They were able to unsedate him enough to where he could hear us. So now
Oh
he
God,
had
I have
tubes.
goosebumps. Mm.
It's like he had
Mm.
tubes like in his nose and in his mouth, so he couldn't talk, but
Yeah.
he could nod his head, he could shake his head. And so all of us, I want to say there was at least a dozen of us there.
Mm.
And so like we all got to say our, see, I'm getting choked up over here. We all got to say our final goodbyes.
Yeah.
And my mom actually sang their sweetheart song to
Oh
him,
God.
you know. And then,
Oh.
so we gave the nurse the go ahead, and she turned off the machine, and he
Mm.
died in like 40 seconds. Like it was
Yeah.
like I said, it was like one of the worst moments of my life. Like watching the man that, here we go.
It's
Like just
okay.
watching the man
It's
that
okay.
gave me the structure of my life.
Yeah.
Like he gave
Yeah.
me that
He was
drive
the
to like
pure
whatever you want
strength
to
for you.
do.
Mm.
Yeah, like whatever you want to do, you can do it. Like he would,
Mm.
like no matter what it was, he was never like, oh, you're crawling up a pipe dream or you're living a pipe dream or that. He would just always, all right, figure out how you can do it.
Mm.
And then just watching his eyes got super big,
Mm-hmm.
and then you could just see the color leave his
Yeah.
face, like
I
just
I know what
slowly.
you're talking
And then
about.
he
Yeah.
turned to the side, he turned to the side, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Like it was, but at the same token, hindsight being 2020, I had that man for 45 years.
Divine
It's like
timing.
I interviewed people on my podcast who never knew their father.
Mm.
Like it either never met him, or they were abandoned by him. There's just so many different scenarios where it's like I had this guy for 45 years.
That's
It's
beautiful.
like
That's such a gift.
so
I
so
love, can
just
I just say,
before
I love that
go
you
ahead.
have this appreciation because it means so much. I was 20 when I lost my dad, and I often said that, I had the best dad ever for 20 years. Other people never had the chance to have this connection, this relationship with their dad, or had them for 45 years, but weren't as lucky to have that relationship. That is possible too. We have all the different scenarios. And I was just grateful for the 20 years that I had him. So yeah, I hear you. I think it's
Absolutely.
so important to say that because it seems that he had an incredible impact on your life.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
like the last thing I said, so like once he had passed, like they cleaned him up, they took all the tubes out and everything, and they're like, "Do you
Mm.
guys want to come and say a final goodbye?"
Yeah.
And like I kissed him on his forehead and just simply said thank you.
Mm.
Just thank you. And my son and my daughter, I mean, they were both in shambles, but like my
Mm.
son just didn't want to leave the room. Like he was just
Yeah.
going back to them fixing my mom's car. He was like,
Mm.
he was so proud of me. He's like, because my dad used to try to talk all that automotive jargon to me, and that's just not my thing. Like he would try to
Yeah.
talk to me about rebuilding engines and
Mm.
changing, all this stuff. I didn't care. Like I just
Mm.
didn't. That's not my thing. But he could
Yeah.
speak that language to my son, and they bonded over that.
I
So
cannot
so when
imagine.
he
That's beautiful.
passed, yeah, he took it so hard. He's like he was so proud of
Mm.
me. He's like he said, he admired me becoming a mechanic, and he could talk to me. So it took us a bit to get him out of that
Mm.
room where
Yeah. I
I'm like
cannot
he's
imagine.
not there
It
anymore.
feels, yeah, but it's something that needs to be processed first. It is something that we really need time to come to terms with that. And I think it's incredible that you had that moment as a family. Also, not everybody gets to say their goodbyes in that final moment. I didn't have that with my dad. I didn't have that with my husband. I did have it with
Yeah,
my husband's dad. I was there. I had it with a very close friend. I was there. Yet now we're in this situation, and I love that you went into so much detail and shared that so straight from your heart. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that.
my
And
pleasure.
we've got about 5 to 7 minutes left, and I want to use that time wisely to share with our audience what got you to do what you do today. How did you get through this moment of your dad's passing to the podcast to everything that you share and do today? You've actually got two podcasts, so let's talk about that. What is the bridge that happened from watching your dad pass away, having this moment as a family, to who you are today?
So it's gonna seem unrelated, but it's definitely related. So in
Mm-hmm.
2009, I had a bad knee injury,
Mm-hmm.
and doctors told me that I was never gonna run or jump again. Like
Mm-hmm.
he looked me right in my eyes and said that. So remember, I have 5 kids. So at the
Mm-hmm.
time, they were 10, 7, 2, and I had twins who were 4 months old. So
Whoa.
hearing
Okay.
those words,
Yeah.
so hearing those words, you'll never run or jump again. It
Mm-hmm.
really reshaped my entire mindset. See, me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the revenge type. I'm not like that. I'm gonna prove him wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, all right, there's a 10% chance. I need to do
Mm-hmm.
everything I can to be in that 10%.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to work. I absolutely went to work. I defied those odds. And then fast forward, I've done over 200 obstacle races, multiple track meets. I have 16 gold medals in track and field since that
Wow.
diagnosis. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I used to redefine my own mindset. So when dad got sick,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I
Oh,
just
were you
wanted
gonna
to
say
ask,
something?
is that
Yeah, go ahead.
what got you into the fitness industry, or were you already in the fitness industry before, and that's what you then utilized to have this mindset
So
change and
it was
the tools
so
basically?
it was the same year. It was February in 2009
Mm-hmm.
where I lost my restaurant management job and I decided to
Mm-hmm.
pursue fitness full time. Then it was July 19th of the same year where that injury
Wow.
happened. So
Wow.
like right when I was getting
Divine
started.
timing. Oh, I love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was like, I need my body to do this.
Mm.
I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but anyway, it's like I tell people like healing, like doctors don't heal. It's like
Mm-hmm.
doctors reset, but
Mm-hmm.
we heal. Like if you get cut,
Mm-hmm.
they'll give you
Love it.
stitches,
Yeah.
right? But your
But you
body
heal.
heals you.
Mm.
Yes. So
That's
anyway, so,
gold.
so now
I
we
love it.
yes, so now we fast forward, and so I have this new reframed mindset because I
Mm-hmm.
defied those odds, and now dad gets sick, and I was toying around with getting fully into the speaking space. And I was like, I'm gonna start a podcast, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm with him while he's at the hospital, and he's like, just go do it. Kind of how he
Mm-hmm.
was with everything else. He's like, if you want to be a
Yeah.
good basketball player, get out there and shoot
Do
a
it.
hundred free throws a day, shoot 100 layups a day, shoot 100 jump shots a day. He's like, just go do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was just starting to do it. And going into 2020, I had 8 speaking gigs lined up.
Mm-hmm.
8. And so
Mm-hmm.
like again, he had passed in November. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, Dad, I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm doing it. Like I have his picture near me
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if it can be seen,
Mm-hmm.
but I have his picture near me constantly. And and then COVID happened, and then all of the gigs got erased. And
Yeah.
so like I did doubt myself for a second. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
is the universe telling me something? Like, am I not
Yeah.
supposed to pursue this? And so
Mm.
like I kind of paused the podcast for a minute, but then I jump back in. It's like no outside force controls my future. It's like I have to get
Mm.
out there and do like if I lay in bed every single day for the next month, what do
Yeah.
you think my life's gonna be like? But if I
Yeah.
get out there and I just go at it every single day, what is my life gonna look like? And so
Mm.
here we are now. I've done 300 and I think it was 43 episodes of that podcast. I've done 37 episodes of my other podcast. I've
Mm-hmm.
been featured on well over 100 podcasts. I've been featured in hundreds of online publications. And I don't say that to flex. It's like when I speak on these platforms, it's not about me. It's about
Mm.
you. It's about the
Mm.
audience. Those of you who are listening, where
Yeah.
you're stuck in some type of rut, or you want to
Yeah.
accomplish something and you don't think you can do it, yes, you can. And just use my story as a
Yeah.
catalyst to help
Yeah.
you get to where you want to be.
I love this. And I love especially how you just built that entire bridge from where you started, what happened in your life, and who you are today, and why you're doing the podcast. It all came together so nicely. You've done it in a really
Thank you.
beautiful, perfect time frame. So I just loved holding space for your story here because it really, you told it so beautifully, and you are such an inspiration. I can only see how freaking proud both your parents must be of you and your siblings. You know, you certainly
Thank
carved
you.
your name there to be seen for the world. And I just loved having you here, Robert. Before you go, please tell our audience what's the best way to connect with you. And we will also share the links in the show notes afterwards, of course. So, what's the best way to get in touch with you or to maybe even become a guest on your show?
Yeah, so if you want to become a guest on my show, best way is to just email me, rob@robertbfoster.com.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote a book, and now I wrote this book not just so people can read about my life. This book has
Mm-hmm.
13 worksheets in it. Like people always
Mm.
ask me, like, how do you this? How did you
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So this book is the how-to guide. And it's the same name as my podcast, is Shut Up and Grind. And you can find
Awesome.
that on Amazon.
Perfect. And
And
we'll
as
share it in
far
the
as
show
like,
notes as well.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And as far as social media, I'm most active on Facebook. Like I'm trying to
Okay.
do Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok more, but I'm most active on Facebook
Hmm.
at Robert B. Foster, and we can go
Perfect.
from there.
I absolutely loved having you. And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, please come back and check the show notes because I will be adding it as soon as we finish with the interview. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Robert, for sharing your time and your story. And as always, if you love what you hear, please share it with somebody that came to mind where you like this person has to hear it, and subscribe for our weekly podcast on Unscience Grief. This is Robert B. Foster and Maria Leslie signing off. Thank you and bye for now.